You are listening to the Concierge Minister podcast, a place to grow, learn, and be inspired as you discover God's purpose for your life. Here's your host, the pastor you've always wanted without the church, Dr. Kumar Dixit.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Concierge Minister podcast. I am really thrilled to be here today. This has been a long time, but I actually discovered that an old friend of mine had just written a book, just published right off the presses. And so I contacted Dr. Carl Rafey to send me a copy of his book. And Carl, before we get started, I just want you to know I'm not one of those people who just collects free books. I'm going to pay for your book, okay? So you actually get a sale out of me. But I sat down and read it in like 2 days. I mean, it was a really great read, inspiring, motivational. And for our listeners, some of you guys always ask me like, hey, where do you get all these like speakers from, and how do you know all these people? Well, let me tell you, Carl, the last time I saw Carl was about 30 years ago when we were both dying together on the Appalachian Trail. And we survived 7 days of the Appalachian Trail. We survived some craziness. And so it's great to see you, Carl. Thanks for joining my podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. It's great to see you. I love your book. I love your book title, Fix Your Stupid. I wish I would have come up with that because I could use that on a lot of people. So let's just start right there. Why did you use that title?
It just kind of came naturally. I was at a seminar maybe 3 years ago, and I like to do as much as I can with personal motivation and all that stuff. And so I was at this seminar. And it was a seminar where people could get up and ask questions, and then they would get answers. And I just kept watching people get up and asking pretty much the same essential question. And then they would argue for their limitations. And basically people just wanted someone to say, hey, it's okay, you're going through this. And, things happen to you. And, really people don't want to take control of their life. And this seminar is also a seminar that you go to. You can go every month if you want. And I'm like, these people have been to this seminar and they're bragging that they've been there so many times. And I'm like, if you're not fixing any, it's like, fix your stupid,
Right.
You're being stupid, fix it. And so the person next to me would be like, boy, you could write a book about that. And I'm like, I think I will. And then it came to be.
That's awesome. So let's just define stupidity. What in your book, what do you kind of describe it as a quantifier?
It's pretty simple. In life, we either act or we react. And so think of like a pinball machine, right? So you're either the ball getting flipped around where everyone's telling you, or you're the person flipping the flippers and making the ball go where it needs to go. And so most people have been trained to, listen to everyone else and understand they really don't have any control over their life. And they constantly are just reacting. They're reacting to the news. They're reacting to their job. They're reacting to their spouse, their kids. And they're just constantly being stupid because they have no control in their life. And then they have regrets, and then they have disappointments, and then they have depression. And all of that just is a downward spiral. So fixing your stupid means act instead of react. If something's going to happen in your life, what is your feelings going to be about that? And because when it comes down to it, no matter what we want in our life, it's the feeling we get when we get it that we really want. So fixing your stupid to me, and the stupid is just the reaction and changing it into action.
Yeah, and that leads me to there was a thread I felt throughout your book, and that was just basically kind of understanding and being content with happiness. Really, really discovering what happiness means, and that's different for every different person. So talk a little bit about that.
So for me, and what I've discovered, happiness is really a balance of three things in your life. It's your overall health. It's the love in your life, and it's your wealth. And so if you can balance those three and increase them, then you can increase your overall happiness. Because if you have one without the other two, then there's going to be discontent.
One of the things that you are saying is that, in order to have one, you have to have the other two as well. Because some people think if I just have wealth, I'll be happy and I'll be content. But really, you need to be able to work on all three at the same time.
We all know people who have more money than they even can spend, but they can barely even go up or down a flight of steps because they have a heart condition. We all know people who have, great health. They're bodybuilders and they're fitness experts, but they're struggling every day to pay their bills. And same thing. Someone can have health but not be in love, and so you have to be able to balance these things and use them together to have true happiness in life.
Uh-huh. When I was reading your book, I was thinking, man, I'm getting like a personal workshop from Tony Robbins.
The first thing I do when I wake up is I try to connect to the higher power. Just wake up in the morning and get connected. It may take a minute, it may take whatever. Everyone doesn't have to take very long. Take 10 seconds. Uh-huh. You just say, hey, good morning. Be with me today. Help me to be the best person I can be. I want to start out this day and I want to be able to help as many people as I can, and I want to make myself happy. Whatever connecting is to you. For me, I just connect. And that makes me feel good.
You're listening to the Concierge Minister podcast with Dr. Kumar Dixit. If you found this podcast helpful to your spiritual journey, please make sure you give us a 5-star rating and subscribe to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Also, remember to share this podcast with your friends and family. Now let's get back to the conversation with Kumar.
So one of the themes in your book is talking about changing your mind or your mindset and how that will change your life. I really feel like you're onto something. But the thing is, everybody says that, just change your mind, just change the way that you approach things. But it's so difficult to actually really change it. So how do you do that, and how does that change your life?
Well, so basically one of the quotes that I have in my book is, what you think about is what you speak about, and what you speak about is what you bring about. So even my kids, if I say what you think about, they'll say, yeah, what you bring about, Dad, and I've tried to instill that in them because, again, it comes back to taking action and planning ahead versus just reacting to everything in life. So there's basically two ends to a stick that every problem or solution is there. So you have the problem end and the solution end. Or you have the positive end and the negative end. When you focus your mind, a lot of times you're focusing on that bad side of the stick. So, for example, if you want to get more money, you start thinking about, well, I need more money. Why do I need more money? How do I get more money? How do I save more? But you're coming at it from a lack perspective. You're coming at it from that side. Uh-huh. And so changing your mind is to go to the other side and say, hey, you know what? Everything has always been okay and has worked out in my life. How can I make things work out better? And that's where it comes to using your mind to appreciate everything you have. Uh-huh. Because like I said before, it's when you want a new car, you want the new car, but it's really the feeling of that new car that you want to have. Uh-huh. And, when you want wealth, most people are looking for freedom.
Right.
And so when you back off of the particulars and the details and you go from detail to general with your mind, you can change the feeling of how you feel about situations. And when you change the way you feel about situations, you're open to new opportunities.
So I think one of the things that came out to me is, most of us live out of scarcity, what we don't have, what we wish we had, the lack of, rather than coming out of fulfillment. And so just living with changing your mindset to say, hey, this is what I want to contribute. This is what I want from the world. This is what I want to give to the world, rather than saying, like using a vehicle, for example, my car sucks. I'm never going to get a car. I wish I had a car. Instead of saying that, you have to be able to really look at it differently to say, hey, my life is going to be amazing. And this car, this vehicle that I'm going to get is going to help improve my life and my lifestyle.
Exactly. So think of it like this. If if you desire something and you focus on the feeling of what it, because the car is not going to make you happy, but if you get happy, then the car can come, or the relationship can come, or the health can come. We think we do things backwards as humans. It's like we expect a situation to change and then we can be happy. So it can never come to us because we're constantly pushing it away. And we want someone to give that to us. It's like, oh, if you do this, then I'll be happy. Well, if you can get happy, then you're going to allow all of those things to come to be because you're already happy. So
I like that.
One of the biggest things is have the feeling. So we all have sat outside and closed our eyes and felt the sun on our face and smelled the fresh cut grass. I mean, so if you can now go back and relive that feeling, you can apply that same principle to anything you want in life.
So Carl, as somebody, you're a chiropractor, as somebody who sees people who are generally in chronic pain and having physical disabilities, how much is that related, do you believe, to their mental outlook in life?
I think a lot of it is. I mean, you can't necessarily say, hey, yes, you have a problem. If you just change your mind, your problem go away like that. But I've been a chiropractor for 20 years now, and I've seen people come in similar situations, similar x-rays, similar history, similar age, and some people want to get better, and they get better very quickly. And, because they have a mindset of, I don't have to be like this, you're going to help me here. They believe that they can get better and they want to get back to tennis or whatever they were doing beforehand. And I've also had people come in and, oh, this was done to me. And, you can't do this anymore. And I'm probably going to have to give this up too. And those people don't get better nearly as fast, if ever, as the other people do. And so in my book, I have some stories, but there are patients that I've been able to change their mind and how they look at things and what they appreciate. And then that they've been able to get better after that.
That's good. That's really, really good. In your book, early on in your book, actually, you talk about EGS and RGS. Not RBG, but RGS. Can you tell me how that plays a role in people's lives?
Yeah, understanding these two principles is paramount in getting to where you want to go in life. So you have a built-in guidance system, and one is called your reticular guidance system, and one is called your emotional guidance system, and they work together. So let's talk about the RGS, or reticular guidance system, first. This guidance system is a filter. So have you ever noticed that, you might decide on a car, you're talking about something with someone, and all of a sudden you see that car on the street, 1,000 of them a day. They were still there yesterday, but your filter system wasn't letting them in because it wasn't a priority or something current in your life. So when you set your filter to allow things in that are going to be good for you, and you have that system set up, then you're going to see more things that are good for you. Where you might walk by a penny on the ground and never look at it, but if you're looking for it, you're going to find pennies everywhere. And so the same thing happens with relationship, with being in the right place at the right time, seeing someone who you may have not noticed before, or all the opportunities come with that. You might not answer the phone one day because of you don't like to, but then when you are expecting a good call and you answer the phone expecting good news, then things can come in differently, and it filters in either the good or the bad. If you're constantly watching the news and stressing about life and all of this stuff, then that's the filter that's going to bring in. Those are the conversations you're going to have with people. That's everything that's going to be in your life. And so when you change your mind, fix your stupid, and you set your filter on the good stuff, then the good stuff can come in.
Okay.
So the EGS is your emotional guidance system. So understanding your emotions and following your emotions. If something feels bad, get rid of it. Don't do it. Find a way to change your feeling about it.
Yeah.
But your emotions are your guidance. If something's making you happy, then, continue with that. And setting that emotional guidance system, just like the GPS in your car. If you can really tap into your emotions, it doesn't matter where you've been. I mean, you get in the car and plug in your GPS. It doesn't say, well, where were you yesterday? If you to make a left-hand turn, it didn't say, why did you do that? It just says, okay, make a right-hand turn, make a U-turn, get back on track. And it's very straightforward. And your emotional guidance system can provide that to where you want to go as well.
That's great. But a lot of it, I think, a lot of what you're talking about is the idea that people have to first take responsibility for their own selves. Like they have to kind of admit where they are, how they got there before they can even make a change. Would you agree with that? Because I think that's one of the probably biggest challenges for most ordinary people is taking responsibility for their life and where they are now.
I totally agree. People need to understand that they are the center of their own universe. They are, your life and my life might overlap, but ultimately the decision of who you are and what makes you you and what you want around you, that's you. And I'm the same way. So, you have to take care of yourself, because you can't get sick enough to make a sick person well. You have to take care of yourself and your happiness. So your health, wealth, and your love, if you're going to give that, and you have to give to receive, then you have to take care of yourself first, and you have to take responsibility for everything in your life. If you're in a bad relationship, take responsibility. What did you do to get there? Why did you attract that into your life? If you don't have any money or your job is bad, what did you do to allow those things to happen to your life? And it's really hard for people to do. If you're sick, why is that? And so, but when you can really take responsibility for every minute little bad thing that's ever happened to you and say, I take responsibility, I don't know how this is my fault, but I take responsibility, then that sets you free.
Yeah, I think also what that does is it helps you prevent, once you acknowledge it, it helps you prevent making those same mistakes as quickly. Because,
Well, and then you catch on faster. You're like, oh, I'm doing it again. And as long as you can forgive yourself for making a mistake, it's like, so then you can get back on track that much faster. Recognize, forgive, and get back on the horse.
So let's talk a little bit more about the kind of the trio: health, wealth, and love. How does that all work together in for somebody to live kind of the life they want to live?
Yeah. Well, and the really cool thing about it is you can't define it for everyone. Some people, let's talk about health first. Some people want to be bodybuilder material. They want to be top in CrossFit. They want to, they want to like really take their body to the extreme level. And to them, that's being healthy. Some people want to eat a vegetarian diet and feel good and, be super, comfortable in them with themselves. And that's healthy for them.
Right.
So, and this, what's good about this book is it helps people decide what is best for them in each of those areas. So if you want to be healthy, what does, if you could be the picture of health for yourself and how your lifestyle plays into that, you travel a lot, maybe your definition of health is a little bit different because you're not strict at the gym eating homemade meals all the time, but so you just have to find out what health is for you. Same thing with wealth. Some people want to be billionaires. Some people are really happy to live a simple life and enjoy what they have. And the same thing with love, what is a relationship to you? And it could be something where you're together all the time, or somebody you can just travel with, whatever that is for you, you have to specifically design that so you know what you're going after.
What I find really interesting, Carl, is like if you work in a nonprofit or even for a corporation, much of your work is related to the vision and mission of the organization, and then I'm talking like corporate retreats. I'm talking about, writing, a 30-page white paper about, where we're headed and what we're trying to do and how we're going to try to accomplish it. All the little groups and departments are all supposed to be working towards that one goal for that clear mission. And yet, even though we can spend 50 to 60 hours a week in our professional life doing that for an organization, we very rarely do that actual exercise for ourselves.
I agree.
Where I remember when I turned 30, I was with a group of friends, about 8 or 9 of us. We were all like, okay, guys, what are we going to do? The next decade, we all had to like admit that, what we really wanted to do. And I remember saying, I'm going to finish my doctorate, and that's like the one goal. And I ended up like doing my doctorate, completing it. The problem is that I didn't come up with another plan, like in my 40s, you know what I mean? So you got to like have a concrete plan for your life, but then you have to actually come out with how you're going to do it. And I think that's what you're addressing in your book.
Well, yeah, if you don't have a goal, and you can't work backwards to get to that goal, you're just basically, again, you're the pinball in the machine. It's like everything is happening to you, and you don't even really know what you want, but you just know maybe you're not happy. Well, you have to define that, like you said, that corporate goal for yourself, the direction, the aim. And then way you have something to move forward. It allows you to make decisions based on what you want and what makes you feel better, rather than just, oh, this person's mad at me, so I have to do this, or I have to go to work because I have to pay the bill. It's like, you're just spinning your wheels and going in circles.
Yeah, no, I think that's really, really important. I feel like in your book you kind of touched on it, but I'm curious to know if you think this is hokey or why you didn't go into great detail. But you alluded to creating a vision board or dream board, kind of something tactile to really show, here's what I want to do, here's where I want to be. And I remember years ago I was like, I made fun of people with like vision boards. I was like, oh my God, these are like such, Oprah Winfrey followers. This is like such a joke, But then I had a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, was at his house once, and I was in his bedroom. He had a vision board, man. It was like a what do they call it? He had a cork board, and he had he had pictures on his cork board, and one was like of this really, really super hot model. I was like, okay. He had I think a Cadillac Escalade that he had cut out and put on the vision board. I was like, bro, you're a pastor. Okay, you're not gonna have that. He had a picture of him from like 20 years ago when he was 180 pounds. At that time, he was about 450 pounds. And I was like, dude, I go out to eat with you all the time. We eat like 3 donuts a night. You're never going to lose weight, And I feel there. Oh, and then he had a check he had made for $1 million that he wanted to make a contribution to a organization. And I just remember thinking, like, and I'm a positive guy, Carl. Like, I'm a positive guy. I believe in everybody. I think, but this person, I was like, bro, like, this is a joke, 10 years later, like, I don't know about the $1 million check, but he got a really great job in healthcare. He picked me up in his Cadillac Escalade when I flew out to visit him. He has a super hot, gorgeous wife who's just the sweetest thing in the world. I mean, I just literally, and he got on the cover of Nike's corporate magazine because he like weighs like 160 pounds and he runs every day. Okay,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy smoke. And I'm not saying that the vision board did it, but the vision board reminded him daily of what he needed to aspire towards. So how do you do that? Because I have pictures in my office. I don't even notice it anymore because it's here every single day. So how do you kind of keep that vision board relevant and real in your life?
Well, part of that comes with routine. You have to plan. You say, okay, every day you're going to take a shower, right?
Yeah.
So every day you're going to do your sit-ups or whatever, you create a routine, and you keep, and even if you have to write that routine down and check it off every day to make sure you don't forget, then do that. But, so I have vision boards. I have them on my wall. There's an app on your phone where you can have it and it reminds you every day to look at it. And it's got like a 5-minute timer where it has the vision board in the background, and it just loops everything in smaller pictures really quick, like imprint your mind. So 2 things. The vision board sets your reticular guidance system. So it sets your filters for the day. So you're looking at Escalades, and you're going to talk to people about Escalades, and you're going to see attractive people and might have a conversation. And the little things can delight and surprise you on how they happen, because you're like, no, you look back like, I can't even believe that this just came out of the blue.
Yeah.
It didn't come out of the blue. You started following a path with your emotions, and you had your filter set right. So if you go out and you just look at what's around you, you're going to get more of what's around you, because that's all you pay attention to. So when you put that vision board and you look at it, and here's a trick with the vision board. Don't just look at the Escalade and go, that's a nice car. Take a minute and say, how would I feel opening that door, watching the steps slide down electronically, stepping up, smelling the leather, seeing the DVD screens, how does that make you feel when that car starts and the engine, 350 horsepower engine roars to life, same thing with the hot model, right? How would it feel to have her sitting next to you at dinner? What would your conversation be like? How would you feel being able to, have that person with you in all aspects of life? Don't just say, hey, yeah, she's hot. Say, what does it feel like? And when you take your vision board and add feelings to it, it takes it to a whole nother level, and things can happen so much faster.
So talk a little bit about meditation, because I feel like that's kind of a good link into that. I know you practice meditation.
Yeah.
What should people
Every
be
day.
doing? What should people be doing as they meditate?
Meditation's important because it quiets your mind. It stops you. We're thinking and thinking and thinking, and output. And when we go to take input, we're watching TV, we're listening to podcasts, and those can all be good things, but it doesn't allow us to receive, So whether you believe in God or you believe in a higher power, there's some greater consciousness that's out there. So if you want to pray to God and say, hey, I need help in my life or need guidance, but you never listen, you're never going to receive. And so quieting your mind, like I take 15 minutes, and I like to do it in the morning because it sets my day. And I do 15 to 20 minutes, usually 15. I'll turn on some white noise on my phone or some brown noise, or maybe turn the fan on the microwave on or something like that. Just for a small sound to focus on that's consistent. And then sometimes I lie down, sometimes I sit up, but I just close my eyes and I focus on the sound. And initially it's really difficult, and that 15 minutes takes forever. And sometimes you may only get 3 or 4 minutes of really deep meditation where you're just totally quiet, because things start popping into your head,
Right.
Oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. So how you can like swipe on your phone and take a program away, or to go to the next picture. So in my mind, I literally, if I'm meditating and I'm sitting there and I'm breathing and something pops in my head, I just swipe it away and keep going. And I just focus on nothing. And you'll get, as you're coming out of meditation, you'll get in many days, you'll get like an inspiration to do something.
Right.
That's what you're being told. That's what the universe is telling you to do. So follow that.
Yeah, I like that. There's the meditation is not just to only empty your mind. It's also to be attuned to what your mind is telling you to focus on for the day as well. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that gives you actual strategic steps to move forward in your life. Can we talk about? I really appreciated what you wrote about. You kind of read through like a bunch of things you do within an hour, your first hour of the day. And meditation was one of the things. But are you willing to share that with just what are some of those things that you do during the day?
Yeah. So a morning routine is really, really important to me. It helps set my tone for the day. And, what I wrote in the book is specifically what I think would be a good thing for a lot of people to do. It does change over time depending on your priorities. Like I have the first thing I do when I wake up is I just I try to connect to the higher power. Just wake up in the morning and get connected. It may take a minute. It may take whatever. Everyone doesn't have to take very long. Take 10 seconds. You just say, hey, good morning. Be with me today. Help me to be the best person I can be. I want to start out this day, and I want to be able to help as many people as I can, and I want to make myself happy. Whatever connecting is to you. And for me, I just connect, and that makes me feel good. Second thing I do is I appreciate. Because if you can get into a mode of appreciating, then you're enjoying your day. You have to appreciate what you have. I appreciate my house. I appreciate how soft this pillow is. I appreciate that I can hear the birds chirping outside, or I'm looking forward to my walk this morning, or, that sets another tone. Another one, make your bed. And I talk about that, having a clean, nice area to live in, and, is simple to do. I go through my affirmations in the morning, and I do that 108 times, which is something in the book I explain why 108, but, really feel everything I talk about really goes back to feeling. If you're going to say an affirmation, I am wealthy, I am happy, only good enters in my life, whatever that's going to be, say it and feel it, because so many people, teach you to say things and to set your goals and to do all this stuff, but they really don't connect the emotional aspect of it. And that's why so many people fail. That's why so many people go back to these seminars hundreds of times and jump from one to the other, is because no one really has them get that emotional connection. Exercise in the morning, little thing on there about minutes. Right now, the weather's nice. I get up and I walk about 3 miles around our neighborhood, just, watching the sun come up. And to me, that just sets my day. And by the time I move into the day, I've had a good hour of just positivity and thankfulness and appreciation.
I think that's really awesome.
One of it.
Yeah, and I think in the book, what you said for exercise, which really stood out to me, was like, do 10 jumping jacks, do some push-ups, I think you said squats or something. And I was like, that's so simple. I should be able to do that, and I need to start doing that. I exercise every morning, but even like what you said, in the winter when it's harder to do, like those are some basic calisthenics that anybody can do as well. And you feel good about it yourself. It wakes you up in the morning.
And what made me think about that is I had a patient come in, and he was talking about a friend of his, and I forget exactly why we're talking about it, but the guy's like 75, 80 years old at the time, but they've known each other since they were kids. And ever since this guy was like 16 years old, he gets up in the morning, and I forget, he does that same little routine. And he's like, my friend has never been sick. He's always, healthy, always, looks good, weighs good, and it's like, so it's like, if you can, it's something, again, that changes your mind. If you have the discipline to do that every morning, or do something similar, you're going to feel empowered, because now if you can do that, what else can I do today?
Right. No, I think that's really great.
You're listening to the Concierge Minister podcast. If you want to support this unique ministry, you can make a contribution through Patreon. Become a monthly donor or one-time giver. Your contribution allows Concierge Minister to provide new resources to help you live your best life. Just visit the show notes to find the link to Patreon.
Every chapter in Carl's book he has several questions for you to actually contemplate and think about and actually answer. I really love that about your book. But then you also offer some freebies in your book. You have a 30-day plan. You also have some web extras that people can go there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so on the website, I wanted to give people an opportunity to dive a little deeper. Some people, I think the book's a pretty easy read. The concepts are, some are might have to go over whatever, but you can go to the website, and we have a 30-day plan. That's basically, it helps you with your morning routine. It helps you really understand like what your goals are, And during that 30 days, I really only want you to focus on one thing. So if you're pretty happy in your relationship and you're pretty healthy, we can always improve. But if if it's, finances that you really want to improve your outlook on, then it's like, okay, for the next 30 days, I want you to do the morning routine. Your affirmations are going to be based on finances. You're going to appreciate every little penny you find on the ground. And in that 30 days, you're going to have a measurable change in not only how you feel about things, but actually in your bank account.
That's really great. And your website?
So the website is fixyourstupid.com, and it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, we have the 30-day plan. I'm going to be doing some different meditations on there. I'm uploading different videos all the time on explaining all of these nuances and activating systems and filters and guidance systems, and just to help people be able to listen and understand that better.
That's awesome. Carl, thanks so much for joining me today. It's really great. I loved your book. I love what you're doing. I love how you're trying to help people. Very, very good stuff. Thanks again, Carl.
Thanks for listening to the Concierge Minister podcast. If you want to learn more about growing in your faith or looking for an online faith community for support while you're on your journey, please visit conciergeminister.com or send us an email at conciergeminister@gmail.com. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating. If you find this podcast helpful, please tell your friends about us. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, go and live your best life.